All right, I have 7 o'clock. We will call the town board meeting for April 15th, 2024 to order. First item on the agenda is the approval. Patrick, got anything?
No changes from staff, Mr. Chair.
Board have anything?
Nope.
All right, I need a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. Item 3 is approval of payment of bills. We had a little faux pas on them. Well, how do you want to handle this, Patrick?
Board can approve the expenditures contingent upon successful signature tomorrow morning.
Do we need that number, or can we just go with a, do I need that total number?
Yeah.
1,100,000.
The board will hopefully grant or approve $1,107,183.31 worth of expenditures on behalf of White Bear Township.
All right,
Typically, I also sign off on that register. We going to waive that for this one? Or you want me to come
I'll
by?
have to call you in too, Steve.
Okay. With that, I'll make that motion.
Second.
all right, motion made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, then I need a motion to approve the minutes of April 1st, 2024.
Mr. Chair, I saw no additions or deletions. Move to approve the minutes of April 1st, 2024.
Second.
Motion made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, item 5 is consent agenda item. There are 7 items.
Mr. Chair, I would move to pull off item 5E, National Police Week, for discussion.
All right, anything else?
No.
All right, then I need a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
I will move to approve the consent agenda as amended.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, item IV is the National Police Week. Normally, we'd adopt this resolution on consent, but we have a representative from the Ramsey County Sheriff's Department. I thought it'd be nice for, get some airtime with you, sir. If you just want to come up, get your name and address for the record, and
My name is John Eastham. I'm a commander with the Ramsey County Sheriff's Office, and my business address is 1411 Paul Kirkwall Drive in Arden Hills.
so how's the township doing?
Good.
Still standing.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a proclamation for us to recognize police chiefs, fire and rescue, who am I missing?
Sheriff's Office.
Well, obviously them, but it's kind of nice because I know with the climate nowadays, it's, the guys are kind of the unforgotten heroes of the town, so, but we appreciate all you guys do for the town.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
One question, really. The sheriff was here in our annual meeting in March, and one of the citizens had asked about the racetrack on 35E, and in the last couple weeks, it's picked up again. Is there going to be an increased presence with you and the State Patrol trying to curb that racetrack?
So I'm not sure about State Patrol's end of it. So I'm actually, one of my jobs, so my official title is Commander of Special Projects.
Oh.
And one of my jobs is that I'm the coordinator for the Minnesota Towards Zero Death campaign, which is based off of the National Highway Transportation Administration funding for overtime for traffic enforcement. And while I don't know specifically what will be done on 35E, I can tell you that the month of April right now is distracted driving enforcement. And we are actively, myself included, we are actively going after people that are driving around with cell phones in hand, mostly, because that unfortunately is the largest distraction that we're dealing with. Then starting May 1st, running all the way through Labor Day, we will be doing speed enforcement. And this year, the state of Minnesota, much to the surprise of a lot of us, but it was a pleasant surprise, actually chipped in money from the state to increase our budget for speed enforcement, which is why instead of doing just 1 month, we're doing the entire summer, May 1st through Labor Day. And that's dedicated funds for overtime for traffic enforcement, specifically speed enforcement. And then 2 weeks in May, we'll be doing seatbelt enforcement as well.
Do those funds help you with employment or hiring or not?
No, it's straight overtime basis.
Okay.
It's extra duty on an overtime basis, but it helps because that way you can have dedicated people, deputy sheriffs, dedicated people doing nothing but speed enforcement. They don't have to answer any other calls. They don't have to, stop what they're doing. They're paid exclusively by the state of Minnesota through the federal funds. And it's like that in the entire county of Ramsey. All of the police agencies inside Ramsey County actually, somebody came up with a really good name for it. They call it the Ramsey County Traffic Safety Initiative. It just rolls right off the tongue. And so the sheriff's office is a part of that. All of the police departments inside Ramsey County. And then even though the state of Minnesota, the state patrol has all of their budgeting is through their agency, and we don't pay for any of their people. We have a collaboration where we have meetings every month with all of the coordinators, and we get together and we plan things, and we focus on the 5 things that cause fatal accidents: impaired driving, distracted driving, speed, lack of seatbelt use, and then also not paying attention for moving over, things like that.
You by chance happen to know what this, for distracted driving, what is the fine? Do you have any idea what they?
I can tell you the answer that I told several people today.
Oh, good. I like
And
to hear
that
that.
is that a long time ago, so I've been doing this job for 31 years. I've been with the sheriff's office for 24 years. And what they used to do is they used to send out a fee schedule. The courts sent out a fee schedule. And then what we would do is we'd hand it to the person and say, this is how much the fee. Several years ago, the fee schedule went away. And now I honestly do not know what the fees or fines are for any of the violations. I just point to the back of the ticket and I let people know that all the explanations and all the instructions to do everything from take this to court and dispute it to pay it outright are on the back. If you'd like to know what your fee would be for this, if you want to pay it outright, please call this number.
Okay. And then one other question about the community outreach for the, in the summertime, the sheriff's department, actually all year, they meet at different places around the communities for families to ask questions and things. They still have that going, do you not?
I believe that is scheduled for this year.
Used to be hot dogs in the park or something once upon a time.
So that is Sergeant Dan Young is the person that's orchestrating all of that and the people in his unit. So I do not know exactly when, but I do know that they are planning on doing that this year as well.
Okay.
Just because it's a great time to be able to have people ask questions where it's a right. So when I pull somebody over, if they have a question, they're probably not going to pose it at that point in time. But if you meet me in the park or just hanging out, it's a lot more relaxed of a situation and you get the honest questions and back and forth there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thanks, sir, for showing up. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thanks, you guys.
All right, with that, I need a motion to approve consent to item 5E.
I will move to adopt the resolution recognizing National Police Week as May 12th through 18, 2024.
Second?
I'll second that.
Motion's made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, moving on then, we have, number 6 is old business, we have none. 7 is public hearings, we have none. So we'll move on to 8A is new business. This is a surplus property declaration. Patrick, you gonna fill us in on this?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I was approached by a resident who is directly adjacent to this property on Stacker Boulevard, requesting to see if the township had any interest in selling it. Checked in with our finance department, Public Works. They had no real plan for it or need for it. It was an old well site for the township. It's been all sealed off and non-used for years now. I want to say 15 years. It was a warranty deed. It was not tax forfeiture. Therefore, we are free and clear to do anything we really want with it. So I checked with Chad to get a declaration of surplus property to see if we can't put this out for bid for interested parties. And that's under, or for the board's consideration this evening. Chad, you got anything else to add to that?
No, the only key is that fact that you no longer need that lot for any town purpose.
Nope.
So it's surplus property.
To your knowledge, is it a buildable lot? Or is it an outlot of sort? Because
I don't think you could do a full build on the size of this lot. The neighbor who is adjacent to it is just looking to extend his property.
So why the interest then if you can't build on it?
I don't know.
Property.
I don't know.
What I'm trying not to have happen is I don't want to have neighbor pick it up and then all of a sudden now they're begging for variances so that to do something that is not in the best interest of the township. So you don't think that's,
What you could amend the resolution to require, well, actually, no, withdraw that. If he or she is the purchaser of the lot, you could require that they combine it with their existing tax parcel, in which case they'd have only one buildable parcel.
because of what was there, maybe that would be in, but that would limit who might be interested in that property, which is probably limited anyway.
True. Or you could also sell it subject to an easement
Oh, yeah.
for, say, a conservation easement, something along that line.
Yep. That's a good idea. But I think the mechanics of it are is that if the town board chooses to declare this as surplus property, our next step is to go through like a 2 or 3 week bidding process on it. And,
Yeah, that's exactly right.
okay, with whatever contingencies that legal.
But you'd want to establish the condition now before you put out to bid.
Good idea.
That was my point. I think we'd be far better to do that now, so there's no misunderstandings as to the purchaser. How we do that,
Patrick, do you know the size of the lot?
I'm sorry, I don't. No. The way Public Works explained it to me, it's very small.
You may want to since there's a concern about selling a lot that you may come back for variances on, which is a distinct possibility. You may want to table this and then consider adopting restrictions on its use, which obviously would limit who would bid on the property, but then again, it also avoids the problems you're suggesting.
Well, we also have an issue, there's a capped well on the property, right?
Yes?
So does that have any bearing on them trying to build on the property?
Well, under statute, you simply have to disclose the fact there's a capped well on the property. I don't know if there's any regulations regarding how close you can build to a capped well. I'm not aware of any. That doesn't mean there aren't any.
I'm in favor of, we're not, as the chair has pointed out a number of times, we're not in the business of being landowners of that. If it's vacant or excess property, we should sell it. However, we need to know a little bit more about it. So I think the best answer is to table it and try and get the answers.
So what exactly do you need me to find out? The exact measurements or dimensions of the lot?
I think we need to know, is it a buildable lot by any stretch of the imagination? And the well, outside of disclosure, what else do we have to be concerned about?
This is down in the southeast corner.
Yeah.
Right?
If you go to,
There's Lakewood,
Yep.
Randy.
I pulled it up on the screen here.
I looked at it.
So it's a corner lot also?
Yep.
Which is more restrictive for building because you have 2 front lot setbacks.
Can I really ask somebody who's looking into
No.
a bid in on the property what it is they're going to do with it? I mean, unless they're doing anything outside of ordinance, they have to come get permits with us anyway, right?
they do, but I wouldn't want to base the acceptance of the bid on what the future intent to use the lot for would be. They're better off simply establishing restrictions on it right now. So when
Okay.
they
As
sell
the
it.
seller, I think we should know what we're really offering.
But looking at the plat that Larry's pulled up, it appears to me to be probably at least a buildable lot.
Yeah, it's pretty small.
Well, it's small, but I mean, in terms of what's already there, it appears to be everyone, when I just looking at it, it appears to be all those houses are located on a single lot, not a combination. But if the concern of the board is that, you don't want to create a situation where you have to grant a number of variances or be forced in a situation where you'd be forced to consider variances, then yeah, you should consider tabling this and developing a set of restrictions, or say even a conservation easement that would restrict its use.
Well, I think to be fair to this person who's interested, the response that we could share is, sure, we're interested in selling property that we don't use. We also want to be sure that we are not misleading or putting this potential purchaser into a bad situation where they buy it and then find out they can't do stuff. So I would think we want to do a little bit of due diligence as far as letting them know you can buy it, be aware there's this, that, and the other restrictions that you would have to keep in mind. And maybe he's just thinking that it'll be an extension to the backyard and they're going to put a volleyball net there. Who knows?
The other side of it is too, Scott, and board, is that we put this out for public bid. Somebody completely different can come in and buy it as well.
And that's why we need to make them aware that there are potential restrictions on setbacks and easements or lot size and whatever.
Yep.
So are we interested? Sure. We want to be thoughtful about it and make sure that any potential buyer is aware of any possible covenants to how it needs to be handled.
And I think the board's raised some good points, because even though it may need variances, and even though you're not obligated to grant variances, it does puts the board and the town in a somewhat complicated situation of having to deny variances and possibly being sued sued in a case, forcing the variance to be granted. So you're better off if you want to keep this lot vacant or unbuilt, without. If you're concerned about whether the lot's buildable or not, and what variance would have to be granted, you're better off tabling it and then deciding if you want to put basically restrictions on it. I mean,
So from a practical standpoint, is this something that, I think the board could decide tonight that, yes, we would like to sell this piece of property, but we are going to table it from the standpoint that we have to make sure we're comfortable with how we're going to market it? Is that the best way to
I
handle
would say
this?
so, because if you look at the resolution, there's also a second part of the resolution which calls for the town clerk to prepare, post, and publish a public notice saying the real estate's available for sale. And by doing that, that's an unconditional sale.
Yeah.
So you may want to simply state that at this point in time, that the board has found this to be a property that has no special purpose for the town, and therefore surplus property. And leave it at that for this point in time.
Yes, and second to that then, would this be something that we would send to the, Planning Commission meets in another week or so? Could they look at this issue with the planner as far as what options we have to market that? Is that something that we
It's
know?
really outside the purview of the planning commission.
Just-
You could seek their advice if you wish to.
It might come back to the planning commission depending upon what it is they're going to build.
Well, that's true.
But the actual
Well, if there's
sale
no
of
appli-
it,
If there's no applicant, then there's no,
yeah.
So the town planner and staff can look into that, and you.
All right, so do we set this for the exec meeting on the 26th?
Happy to do so. Would you like me to call the petitioner on this and get some more insight on what it is his plans are?
I would advise not
I
doing
was gonna say,
that.
based on what Chad said, I don't think it's relevant to whether we sell it or don't sell it. It's our restrictions that we're concerned about. So your recommendation is, Chad, to say that the board is interested in marketing this property?
Right. That's my advice. Having the person who initiated this come and explain what their proposed use is not a bad idea.
Okay.
However, you don't want to create the impression that he or she is the only one that can bid on the lot. And you don't want to, create any false assumptions. So you're better off just looking at the lot independent of what the neighbor would want to do with it.
And I don't want to overcomplicate things here too, but if we're inviting whomever the person is that has initiated the interest in this property specifically and specially to appear in front of the executive committee, aren't we giving him a little bit of insight an advantage on purchasing the property in front of whomever else might want it when we post it.
Yes, that's a good point. Also, you could meet in closed session.
Oh, it's real estate.
It's real estate, so you could meet in closed session to discuss this.
Yep.
But in terms of whether it's surplus property, that should be done in a public meeting,
Yep.
public as tonight. But how you market it could be done in a closed session, and that may be the best way to do it. Actually,
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. That's probably the way to go.
Would you at least let this person know that we're thinking about it?
Yep. I'll tell them that they want to have a little bit further, you guys want to have a little further discussion on it. And I'll let you know how that goes afterwards. No problem.
That's a really long motion, Steve.
Yeah, how are you going to do that?
I would limit it simply to that the board finds this property to be to have no special purpose, and therefore is available for disposal.
That would be my, whatever we're going to call it, resolution or recommendation.
Or don't we just table this instead of not putting any headers or on?
I think we just table it.
Oh,
Yeah.
table the whole thing? All right, I'll move to table this entire, my system just went
The surplus
black.
property declaration.
Yeah, okay. I'm having
That.
malfunction at the moment.
All right, motion made second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that motion carries. Moving on, 8B is the improvements for the 2023 Mallard Ponds project. Larry, you going to go over this for us?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair and town board. The Mallard Ponds Street Improvement Project, we've been discussing for 7-8 months now, and we've taken a number of steps throughout the process, including preparation of a feasibility report. The public hearing was held in January. Neighborhood meeting was held on March 26th. And we are here today with plans and specifications for you to approve to put this out for bid. And so we have two resolutions for you tonight. One approving the plans and specifications, and two authorizing advertisement for bid. Just looking at if you want to direct your attention to the screen, the Mallard Ponds area is in that northeast corner of the township, and includes the streets that you see on the screen there. The Mallard Ponds area, Santera Circle area. A couple of things to note for you tonight. The project is a street reclamation project where we're grinding up the pavement, reusing it as base for the new roadway. Any areas that are soft or showing signs of settlement would be removed and cut out and repaired, and then it would be repaved. The existing curb and gutter would remain in place, other than areas that might have shown cracks or settlements. So that's the nature of the improvement. Along the way, we're also looking at improvements to the stormwater ponds. So we have a number of ponds in this area that would be the sediment removed and cleaned, new riprap perhaps at the outlets. One of the things we heard through the public process and through Public Works is some of these median islands at the entrances, and one in this cul-de-sac and Santera Circle, that we should consider removing them. So with that, the plans are showing removal of those medians that at the entrance to Mallard Ponds Boulevard and Mallard Ponds Drive. And so I can show you those plans if you'd like to see them. And then also the median at the one cul-de-sac, there's a center island in that cul-de-sac that would be removed. And it would help with future maintenance. There's plantings in those medians that become overgrown and need maintenance, and it would lessen that burden. And then also plowing operations would be improved without having to plow around those median areas.
So Larry, You've had community meetings on that. That has been brought up and part of the meeting, so they're not
Yeah,
going to
there
be a
was
surprise
a
for them.
request of the residents to,
Okay.
to look at removing these.
It's not going to be a surprise.
And I'm mentioning it tonight to
Those
also,
who showed, it won't be a surprise.
not everyone attends these meetings or
right.
participates.
Well, I understand that, but I know you had neighborhood meetings, and if it came up there, I'm comfortable. We've done our part to make sure it's not a surprise. Okay.
We've been looking at this for
Oh, my goodness.
a couple, 3 months now, so I don't know if you really need to go through the whole plans and spec aspect of it. The one median in the middle, was that done originally for safety reasons, in and out, or?
No, they
just
usually,
aesthetics.
I can't speak to what made the decision, how the decision was made to add these, but it's usually a developer-driven initiative for, what they view as an amenity coming into the neighborhood.
Okay.
There were some water concerns on one of the
Yes.
far left side. That's included in this plan, correct?
So since that concern was brought up at some of the neighborhood meetings, the township has been flushing the mains a little more frequently, and we haven't seen that issue reoccur.
Okay.
And so it wasn't felt that we needed to do something to address that.
It's not something you think we'll do the road project, and then a year later, we're going to have to tear it up again because of that? Or is it?
The Public Works is feeling that it's not a needed expenditure at this
All
time.
right,
I
good.
think you might really want to ask Dale about that next Friday, because I know he's been really focused on clearing that out over the past several months.
Yeah, but they brought it up a few times. I just don't want to spend money on a project to have it tore up again.
It's really hard to pinpoint
What the issue is?
where that would be. And so we might be chasing something. And so it was felt that with a little more maintenance on that piece, maybe maybe that's the best way to approach it.
Okay.
Well, the only other concern I have is, we had a resident interested in developing some lots.
Yes.
Part of them facing Portland. I think maybe one of them faced the cul-de-sac. I can't remember now. But it was brought up that we don't want to see all of a sudden a lot split and then they have to tear it up to put a stub in. Are you aware of that one that they're talking about? Okay. So that's on the radar. We're not going to get that one slip by.
Yeah, we're aware of that situation. I believe the services are in place.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions of Larry or staff? Hearing none, you want these as two separate motions, don't you, Larry?
That's the way they were.
All right, the first one is the approving plans and specs.
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolutions approving plans and specifications.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the other one is advertised for bids.
Yes, I'll make a motion to authorize the advertisement for bids for the Mallory Pond project.
Second.
Motion made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that motion carries. All right, moving on, we have one more road improvement. This is the Parkview Court.
Yes, thank you. Parkview Court is in a similar location in the township. It is a solo cul-de-sac located off of Portland as well. This project came up a few years ago when we were looking at the neighboring street to the south. And we were looking at a mill and overlay project back then, and this project, when we looked at it, was too far, the street was too far gone and needed more extensive work to be done than just a mill and overlay. So now this project is another reclamation project, but in this case, we need to remove all the curb and gutter and replace it because it is deteriorated. So this project has kind of been on that similar schedule. It's had the feasibility report, public hearing, and a neighborhood meeting that same evening on March 26th. This project it doesn't include a lot of other items. We are looking at some turf reestablishment here between Portland and Parkview Court. But other than that, it's what we proposed, the street improvement and curb and gutter. I should have mentioned that other street Mallard Ponds, lighting was brought up by the neighborhood, and that's still being pursued on Mallard Ponds, and it'd be separate from the project. In this case, the residents at the last neighborhood meeting are kind of dropping the lighting, so lighting won't be a part of this project, or we're not working on it separately either. So I don't know. I can go through the plans on this one as well, but there's not as much to see on this one. There's not a lot of storm sewer improvements or pond improvements or anything like that. It's strictly the street work, the curb and gutter.
Any conversation on the center island in that one?
They use that.
It's a larger one.
It's a larger one. They have picnics or gatherings for the neighborhood on that one. So they want to keep that. In fact, they were talking about wanting power out to that island because of their activities.
But that's been dropped.
Yes.
As a practicality, yes.
Yep.
Or on their own expense.
Yes.
Larry, you have a feel for the market right now?
Yeah.
Bidding?
Yes. Just had a bid opening last week. A larger job, but the bituminous prices this spring have been really good, really favorable. Have came down a lot. That project was my estimate was 5.1 million, and it came in at 4.2 million.
Oh, nice.
And a lot of bidders. So there's contractors looking for work.
Well, in one respect, that's good for the township because if the more bidding we get, the more competitive, and then
Yep.
that helps on our assessment values too, so.
Yep. And so we're looking at a bid opening for this project as well as the Mallard Ponds on May 15th, and those bids would come back to the board on May 20th.
All right, board, have any other questions?
For this particular project, it's kind of all in at the same time, right there, because it's only one road in. And there are some logistic issues. Does that come into play as far as the bidding process goes? Because like their mailboxes are all going to have to be moved someplace.
Yeah, we've brainstormed ideas about that, and including looking at placing temporary mailboxes to the area to the south as an option. There was concern about having them on Portland by the residents. They didn't want to see that. So we'd work with our contractor on an appropriate space for that. And we might, we'll have to work with the contractor, but, maybe we're not curbing everything at the same time, allowing for passage on one side while we're curbing the other side and leaving it for the curing period and then switching.
Yet to be determined.
Yes.
Good answer. All right.
We don't like to necessarily restrict things in the specifications. We'd like to work with our contractors on the appropriate way to handle things like that.
All right, that's you.
That's it.
All right, so the first motion I need is, again, adopting the plans and specs.
I'll move to adopt the resolution approving plans and specifications.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And then the second one is authorization for advertisement.
I'll move to authorize advertisements for bids for the 2023-3 Parkview Court project.
Second.
Motion made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. Item 9 is we have no added agenda items. Item 10, we have open time. I noticed, I'm assuming students? Any of you, would you like to come up and
Sure they do.
grade our performances? Hearing none? Last chance. You could be famous. Okay.
Very wise.
All right, item 11 is I need a motion to receive agenda material and supplements.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And then I need a motion to adjourn at 7:35.
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 We are adjourned.